This is a spoken gospel. We are dedicated to seeing Jesus in all of Scripture. In each episode, we see what's happening in a biblical text and how it sheds light on Jesus and His gospel. Let's jump in. Ruth makes us hope for a king who can bring fullness out of emptiness. Before Ruth's story begins, we're told Israel is in the time of the judges. It perhaps the darkest of Israel eras, marked by its cruelty toward women and profound lack of godly leadership. Ruth and Naomi, the main characters, stand out as faithful women among a generation of faithless men. But like the rest of Israel, their lives are full of tragedy and death. Israel is in the middle of a famine. Naomi's husband and her 2 sons are dead. Naomi doesn't even live in Israel anymore. She's marooned in Moab, an old enemy nation of Israel. Her only companions are her sons' infertile widows, Ruth and Orpah. Naomi's situation seems hopeless. In this culture, the only hope for 3 widowed women is to either have a son or to marry a rich man. Neither option seems possible for foreign, infertile, and aged women. Naomi realizes her only hope is to move from Moab and return to her hometown in Bethlehem. Naomi discourages Ruth and Orpah from joining her. As Moabite women, they are almost guaranteed alive as a disliked minority in Israel. So Orpah returns home, but Ruth shows loyalty to Naomi. Instead of leaving, Ruth declares that Naomi's God is her God and Naomi's people are her people. She would rather die than leave Naomi. So they leave together. Naomi and Ruth, barren and hungry, arrive in Bethlehem. But as a hint of what God is about to do for them and for Israel, the barley harvest has just begun. Soon their emptiness will be filled and a king will be born. Early in Israel's history, the founding mothers of Israel, Sarah, Rebecca, and Rachel, were unable to have children. But God miraculously opened their wombs and provided a new leader for His people. We expect that story to be repeated here. But unlike those stories, there's no man to help provide the child. Ruth is alone, an infertile and foreign daughter-in-law. Ruth's willingness to sacrifice her own life to serve her mother-in-law will be how God provides Israel a new king, and we'll talk about that in Ruth 4. But Ruth's role in Israel's redemption also foreshadows another woman's role in our redemption. Mary is a virgin and should not have been able to have a child. But Mary's willingness to serve the Lord means that through her, a king will be born who will bless the world through His kingdom. Jesus is the son of Ruth and Mary's faithfulness. Jesus will even be born in Naomi's hometown of Bethlehem. He is the true king, not just an Israel, but the world. He was born to fill our emptiness through His reign as a king. So if you're barren like Ruth, if you're widowed like Naomi, if you're leaderless like Israel, if you're hungry, if you're poor, or if it seems scientifically impossible for you to be filled, the book of Ruth is for you. A child has been born, and His name is Jesus. If, like Ruth, you loyally pledge yourself to King Jesus, everything you need will be